Time you want. So
Okay, I'm
That
trying
was
to
the
let
gym.
Tom in.
Jim,
Tom's
don't let
been
him
trying
in.
to
He's
get-
late.
We're trying to let Tom in.
He's late.
He's late. He's your nemesis. You're a heathen and he's the nemesis.
Might be- You gotta have a
What a
nemesis.
day for me to pop in.
I know, right? Join the fun today, Shannon.
You gotta, at least you don't have a nemesis like I do.
I know you got Tom Benton as a nemesis.
I'm
that and Tom Benton as a nemesis is like, what is that oxymoron kind of?
Feel free to take me on as your nemesis, as Gabe is.
I love it.
It
So
feels like,
amazing.
yeah, how do you have a nice nemesis?
I know,
Even
nicest
that-
guy on the planet. And he's your nemesis. I love it. And Andrea's back with us. Hi, Andrea.
What's up, girl?
Yep. All right. So you all are like gearing up for a big weekend this weekend, LA Times Festival of Books.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
It's coming. Andrew, are you going?
No, we don't go to consumer focused
Okay.
events. And I also have to, I mean, I would go as a book lover, but I'm heading to Berkeley for my first in-person sales conference.
Ooh,
Oh wow.
what? Okay.
Nice.
Okay, I'm totally jealous. One of our booksellers, and I think I need to plan a vacation around this. She went to the London Book Fair this week.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I think I
cool.
want to go do that.
I'd like
I
to
think-
do that.
Big deal,
Yeah.
big deal.
I know. I want to figure out how to do it. So anyways,
It's
Okay.
not, the town doesn't get expensive either because it's so big. There's so many hotels. It really is
Right.
like, so
right.
you could find affordable digs.
I just got to figure
Women
out
in
if there's like how you get into like panel. It's like if it's a pain to like get into panels and stuff like that, you know.
Oh, like as a books, yeah. 'cause
Yeah.
it's more publisher focused,
Right,
right? Yeah.
Right.
There's more, yeah,
But-
right, and publishing.
But the bookseller that is going is just a bookseller. So it's just like, so I don't know if it's got I don't know, speaking of consumer facing things, I don't know if it has a consumer facing part of it or not, or if it's strictly just
I don't know.
publishing. So
Uh,
something for me to explore.
I think that maybe the last day or something, but I'm not sure.
I'll have to get Rick Steves on it. Anyways,
Yeah, right.
plan me a trip to the London Book Fair. All
Just
right,
have
today.
Nancy get a booth there, that's all.
Oh yeah, there you go. Because we sell so much, well, although everybody calls us Warwicks, anyways. Every British person that I have
Oh,
doesn't
yeah, that's
pronounce the
true.
W, so it's pretty funny. So they'll think that we're mispronouncing their heritage, I guess. Anyways, okay, it's gonna go today. It's gonna go Shannon, Gabe, Andrea, and Tom. So Shannon, I don't know. Do you need the screen share? Let me get everybody screen share. So take it away.
No, I have my first book.
Oh,
I
good.
was just typing a response to Amanda. So I do have, I do sell Scribner. I guess somebody was asking about The Last Cold Place. So maybe I'll do it for my lightning round pick. I haven't read it yet, but
Oh.
stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Um,
Okay, that book is out. That's so good.
oh, good. Did you read it, Julie? I'm obsessed. It's, I don't even know where to begin. First of all, it's my favorite cover of the season. Just look, Big Swiss. It's Jen Began. It's kind of everything. I could look at it all day long. But it is Jen's third book. I think that it will be her biggest book yet. Her first two books, Pretend I'm Dead and Vacuum in the Dark. I feel like they were like kind of like cult favorites, like the people who found them and loved them just like sold them and sold them. But you know, kind of in those very specific book selling hands. And I feel like this has hopefully will sell bigger and wider. We actually already sold out of our first print, which is very exciting. But this is the story of Greta, who is living in the Hudson Valley, New York. She's kind of like drifting aimlessly. She's living with a friend in a Dutch farmhouse that was built in the 1700s and like really has not ever had anything done to it. There's a hive of bees living with them as well. And to kind of make ends meet, she is working transcribing therapy sessions from a sex therapist. And the sex therapist is this like hippie guy, and his name is actually which tells you something about Hudson Valley. And Greta becomes obsessed with one of his patients who she doesn't know who the patients are. She just has the sessions. She names her Big Swiss because she's, like a tall woman who's very stoic. And Greta becomes obsessed with her. Big Swiss is married. She suffered some sort of trauma that she won't really go into yet. And anyways, small town, they end up meeting. Madness ensues, but it's just like quirky and smart and super sexy, and like I don't know how to explain it. It might not be for everyone, but like for the people who read it and love it, I feel like if you like Mona Awad, I mean, I don't even know. It's just was everything. I loved it.
It is. It's really hard to pinpoint, but you're right. If you you got to give it a try,
Yeah.
because it might not be, but it's out there, but in such a good way.
Like it's out there, but her writing is so smart, and like you
Right.
really like get into these characters so much that it doesn't feel like, even though it feels like a little off the rails, you feel like I'm with you. Like
Exactly. But it's just like you're just kind of in it together, but it's just like, oh my God.
yeah.
There's a lot of oh my God kind
There,
of
there is a lot of oh my gods. And so Big Swiss, it's my first. It came out in mid-February, I think.
Yeah.
So it's there should be copies at Warwick's.
Yep. And Pauline read it at the store too. And she's just like, she's all over. She, I think, did she do a rec about it? I think. I mean, she just is like all over it. So unfortunately she quit though, because she's like moving on in her life from book selling, which is kind of sad, but she was a great bookseller. So
Bummer.
yeah, Big Swiss. Love it.
Love it.
Okay, Gabe.
I'm gonna start big with a low. I gotta talk
Woo.
about Don, since Don basically is considered a San Diego writer. He's moved around. I think he's spending a lot of time on the East Coast now, but he is this is where he blew up in San Diego, writing
Yep.
about San Diego and Scam Diego and the surf bums and the gangsters and the mobsters. So this is what Don does best. This is the follow-up to City on Fire. Where Danny Ryan, Rhode Island gangster, is all but destroyed. So he's on the lam with his little boy, his father, and a handful of his posse, and they head west to the land of opportunity in Hollywood and all that Hollywood has to offer. So like Don's books do, they've got these crazy characters who come through, and some of them are way out of their minds. In this case, Danny is on the run. He wants to set up base in Hollywood. The FBI, the cops, the mafia all want him dead or in prison. And he's trying to set up a new empire. And then the government asks him for a favor, and a film is being made of his life that he wants a piece of the action of. And we end up in the deserts of Southern California, where bodies have regularly disappear. The crime that exists through the Hollywood studios and the money that's laundered, etc. So it is fast and furious. It's a wicked pace. It is Don Winslow doing what he does. There's very few guys, very few authors in the world who have such a distinct pattern to theirs. Some of the noir guys, and definitely I think Don Winslow, who gets away with that saucy,
Yep.
noirish, crazy language that in the hands of somebody else is really silly, but he just writes that snappy dialogue. And you run through these books like really, really fast because of that. So ambitious and fun and full of what Don does. You know exactly what you're going to get from this Don Winslow novel. And then there'll be one more, and then he says he's retiring. So
I don't know. I don't believe it. He's gonna be at the store tomorrow.
That almost never happens.
It's hard, right?
One
It's a
case
vice.
where that actually happened, and that was a billion years ago.
It's
Yeah.
a vice. They got to write.
Julie will get to the bottom of it.
I'm gonna get to the bottom of it tomorrow.
That's right.
He'll claim that he's retiring, just like he claimed he wasn't going to tour anymore. And guess who's hosting him tomorrow? So
I'm pretty sure Stephen King retired at one point too.
yeah, but I love Don Winslow so much. I mean, he is just so fun, so snarky. And when you're right, Gabe, when he reads, typically at his events, unless he's doing an in conversation, but at the events at the store, he usually reads a passage. And it's like, that's how you hear him read then when you're reading the book. It's just this dialogue that just comes at you, just like so fast and furious.
Does
Yeah,
he,
it's got to take him like, 20 days to write a sentence
Yeah,
to get it just right.
to get it just right.
Yeah.
does he read his audiobooks? He should,
Don't
I
know
don't
that
think so.
answer. I don't know.
probably not,
But he
but
should, you're right, because he
Yeah.
just does have a voice that, oh, no, I love him to death. So, and I love this series. This is really good because it's a little bit, he still gets into his, I mean, it still gets pretty gritty. It's not quite the cartel and that, but he's just good. I love Don. You're in the mood for that. All right, Andrea. What do you, I have to tell you real quick though, Andrea. Okay, because I've been waiting for you to come back.
yes,
I read Monstrilio.
yes.
Holy cow, I love that book. We'll talk about
Okay,
it. Talk
okay,
about this one and
good.
then we'll talk
I'm
about
happy. I'm happy. I really think that is a little sleeper
that.
and it's going to sell for a long time.
It's so good.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sharing. Okay, great. The first book I want to talk about first. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I've been gone for a while. I have just been slammed. And I'm going to be gone next week because of, and maybe the week after that, because of sales conference meetings. And I'm terribly sorry. But if you want, I can, send one book I want to talk about that's releasing that maybe somebody can just, read my notes or something.
I like that. We can do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great books coming out. I don't want you guys to miss out on the fabulous offerings from my Passel of Publishers. Do you like that? Passel of Publishers?
Oh, because I think a really big one is coming when you might be gone. Like a gigantic one, like the one I've been talking about forever.
Yes, and yes. So
I'll talk about it.
well, yeah, we'll talk about that. Okay. So today I want to talk about Isabella Hamad's new book, Enter Ghost. This is her sophomore novel. She wrote The Parisian when I think she was like 23 or something when it came out. And so a couple of years have elapsed. And man, can this woman write? And so happy to see that her sophomore effort is just as good or better than her first book. And it's nice to see that Grove has really taken Bella on as a house author, and we really are looking forward to seeing what else she's doing. In this book, her protagonist, Sonia, is an actor who has been living as an expat in Los Angeles to increase her chances. She's an actor, so to increase her chances on the stage and possibly Hollywood, but her possibly films, but her marriage disintegrates, and she goes back to Palestine, to Haifa, and has been gone since school, and so a lot of things have changed. And she's living with her sister. They haven't seen each other for a long time. Their beloved grandparents are gone now, who, like, they were what would you say, just sort of foundational forces in the sisters' lives, and a connection to the old Palestine before Israel was created. So that's all gone. She is asked to play Gertrude in a Palestinian production of Hamlet in like traditional Arabic, so like the old ornate Arabic. So and she takes this on, and so all of these things are happening. It's a very modern take on what it is to be of Palestinian roots, living in a country that they, conceive of as being occupied. And it's just fantastic writing. It's amazing. It's getting amazing reviews. It came out in April 4th, and that week She got an amazing review in the New York Times. The New Yorker had a profile. Let me see. Kirkus starred review from Publishers Weekly. Literary Hub named it a most anticipated book of 2003 or oh my God, 2023. Woo, woo, man, I'm out of practice, kids. And it's just so nice to see. The New York Times review says, this is terrific. Inner Ghosts, though contemporary, is thoroughly infused with Palestine's past and thoroughly haunted by Sonia's. Hamad, who is both a delicate writer and an exact one, intertwines the two, taking care to give Sonia as many personal ghosts as she does historical ones. Indeed, the novel seems to argue real growth and connection, both political and personal, cannot begin until everyone's ghosts have emerged from hiding. Art is, if nothing else, a powerful tool for coaxing them out. That is a great quote right there from that review. And there's also ghosts in Hamlet. So there's just there's all these threads, ghostly threads throughout this. $28 hardcover from Grove Press. Can't wait to hear what everybody thinks when they rush out to get it at Warwick's.
We've already sold a few too as well. So
Yes, you have.
yes, we have. And it's I love The Parisian. I haven't read this one, but I loved her first book because the first book kind of is a little bit about her family, right? It's a no, but it's about her family, if
Yes.
I'm remembering correctly.
It is, and
Yeah.
also set. It's about historic Palestine,
Right.
with somebody who I think may have been her grandfather.
Yeah.
Who travels to Paris to study medicine.
Yeah.
And then returns. So
Really good.
yeah.
She's a good writer. So put
Yeah,
that on
she's
your
great
list.
and a lovely, lovely human being too. So
Even better.
always nice.
We like to support authors who are good humans.
Yep.
Okay, Tom.
Speaking
Okay.
of good humans,
Okay.
one of my favorite authors and people is J. Ryan Stradle. So originally,
He is such a nice guy.
he's the nicest guy and the most generous to other authors and bookstores. And so the first book was Kitchens of the Great Midwest, which I loved. A great debut. Then there was The Lager Queen of Minnesota. And the new book is Saturday Night at the Lakeside Supper Club. So if you haven't, like his books, like some books, like Shannon's books, and I have quite a few books that aren't for everybody. Like it's a specific audience. Jay Ryan's books can be read by just about anybody, and you certainly do not have to be from the Midwest. Though that's always the locale. So here we are in Minnesota. It opens with Mariel Prager and her husband Ned. Mariel, they're both having issues. Mariel's mother, Florence, is refusing to leave the church where she's been holed up for more than a week, waiting for the two of them to reconcile. Mariel's not in the mood to reconcile, and her mother's very stubborn. So Mariel inherited the Lakeside Supper Club. This is a family business that has been through hard. Now it was once tremendously successful. Now it's in kind of hard times. She's married to Ned, whose family owns the sort of local chain version of a supper club. So, that's an issue right there. And that's one of the subtexts of all of his books is the independent business versus the big chain, and that's present here. And so he takes you back in time to Mariel's grandmother and her mother. So he gives the full story and her daughter. So we're getting 4 generations of a family here, told through the Lakeside Supper Club. It's my favorite of his books. I've loved all of them, but there's something a little bit deeper, a little bit funnier, a little bit sadder, a little bit more of everything is here. I got real strong John Irving vibes. Like if you love John Irving, try this because it's just a deeper, richer book that I think, everybody should read. It's really about the characters. That he writes women so well. He always credits he lost his mother when he was very young, but he's always writing, he says, for his mother, about his mother, different facets of his mother. And he's not afraid of tragedy. Tragedy happens to this family, but there's something so feel good at the end of all of his books. I feel good. I feel it's a more expansive vision at the end. It's just great. And I'm not alone in loving this book. Roxane Gay, about a month ago, 2 months ago, posted on Goodreads, the best review ever, 5 words. This is a perfect book.
Oh,
So
wow.
I completely agree. I mean, take it from me, take it from Roxane Gay. Saturday Night at the Lakeside Supper Club by J. Ryan Stradle, out tomorrow. And it's going to be a fantastic summer read all through the summer.
And let me ask, because the first one, I read his first, he does really good food writing. Is there a
Oh
food
yeah, of
element
course.
in this?
Yeah. There's definitely food writing in here. Yeah, that's always a big part of the book.
That's kind of his thread, that he's really good
And
at
supper
that.
clubs were known not just for food, but for, and they're a real Midwestern phenomenon of like in the middle of the 20th century. But alcohol and cocktails, that whole culture, it is all in there. My favorite, he opens the book to describe Mariel saying what about a supper club. It's her version of heaven. She says when she walked into a good one, she felt both welcome and somewhere out of time. The decor would be old-fashioned, the drinks would be strong, and the dining experience would evoke beloved memories, all for a pretty decent price, which I think also describes the book. I mean, it's all there. But
Well,
yes, great food
we
writing.
already have fans because Beth Johnson's been waiting for this one.
Oh,
And
excellent.
she's been waiting for it. And actually, Beth Doherty went to Jay Ryan's launch for Lager Queen at a local brewery, Lake Monster Brewing. So
Oh, that's fantastic. Well,
fans.
and the other thing about Jay Ryan is he is all over the country. Like now that the book is out, he'll be everywhere, East Coast, West Coast, and then of course all over the Midwest, because he loves meeting people wherever he goes. He's just that kind of guy.
Great.
Okay, love it. Okay, Shannon.
Okay, next up, I'm gonna share. Can you guys see this? I'm
Yeah,
not gonna.
kind of.
Yeah, I'm not going to share my screen because I have like 1,000 things open and I feel like I break something every time I try. This is Patron Saint of Second Chances. It just came out in paperback last week, and it is, I don't normally talk about paperbacks, I feel like, but I feel
But I
like
like that.
perfect for summer reading, and where I don't know, the school year feels like it's zooming toward the end, and I feel like it's time to start thinking about it. This is a debut, and it's just, I feel like Tom was kind of saying, I feel like there's a little something for everyone in this. It's really charming. It's the story of a small town in Italy. The main character, I think his name is Signor Speranza. I could be getting that wrong, but he's like the vacuum repair guy and also the de facto mayor. And it turns out there's like, this town is like population 210 or something. And they find out that if the town can't come up with like 70,000 euros to fix the pipes that bring water into the town is basically going to have to, like the residents are going to have to move. So he decides that he is going to make a post that there's going to be a film being made there and that a famous Italian movie star is starring. And it works. And everyone comes and the entire town wants to be a part of the movie. And it's sweet, it's funny, it's charming, it feels very big-hearted, and it's very escapist. I read it when it came out or before it came out in hardcover, and I loved it. And I think this paperback format is perfect for it. So if you're just looking for like something charming to escape into for a few hours, and it's not that long. Another thing that's perfect. I loved it. So Patron Saint of Second Chances, Christine Simon.
Love it. Sounds so good. Like you said, it sounds perfect summer read.
Perfect summer reading.
It's a great
Yep.
title too.
I know, it's a really good title. Okay, Gabe.
Oops.
Oh no. Oh yeah, no. Sorry, Andrea.
I know, I'm getting out. Sorry.
Gabe's gonna yell at you. You better watch out.
Andrea is really out of practice. She's,
See, wait a minute.
Yeah,
You might
this-
become the new nemesis.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
sleeping well.
I'm your nemesis, Gabe.
I'm just not
Stepping
sleeping well, sorry.
stepping all over me, my presentation. Are you done, Andrew? So the possibility of life, am I sharing? I'm not
No.
sharing.
No, not yet.
You guys threw me off, man. Now you threw me off.
Welcome to tea time.
This is why I don't share.
Same
Um,
here.
This is why I share, because I got these cool effects.
You do. I'm very impressed by your effects, by the
The
way.
torn covers. You just hit a button, it does it. You don't do anything but type in the title.
Well, at least you know how to hit the button.
So the possibility of life by Jamie Green. This is one of those books that you look at and you're just like, well, what is it? You know, it's not necessarily about extraterrestrials. And because she goes, we've come a long way. The idea of extraterrestrial life on other planets got kind of faded as we got more and more knowledge, but it's still in the back of a lot of people's minds. So what she set out to do is she starts with a really basic Copernicus, Galileo, the sun, the earth rotates around the sun, etc. And then she moves us into the new world of astrology, astronomy. And she is more looking at what if or how would life on other planets look like, rather than and not so much imagining the physicality of the alien life of the other lives, but how they would exist without like light. So we have the sun. The sun is an essential part of our growth and well-being. So what if there's no sun? What happens when there's no Darwinist evolution? How do species evolve? So they probably are different than that. So she speculates on all those kind of things. She brings in a lot of science fiction writers. It's a hard book. I'm having a hard time because it's really fascinating.
It sounds really good.
It's really fascinating because then she looks at science fiction writers and the ideas that they've postulated and how what could be realistic, and the ones that have a realistic grasp on are realistic according to her scale. But she talks about a lot of really contemporary, up to the minute astronomy. She also uses, like I said, science fiction to reflect, so it makes it more accessible. She finds, she didn't want to have a book of data because data is really boring. So she uses these examples, and then also pop culture. So you will have Star Trek. You got to have Star Trek because Gene Roddenberry was thinking ahead, and so a lot of the stuff that he thought about
Has come true.
Some has come true, and why not? On the other stuff that's more speculative. So Madeleine L'Engle's in here. Arrival, the movies are in here, and all the ideas that they throw out and bring in. So it's quite an interesting layman's book for somebody. She's not saying there is life out there. She's saying there might be life out there, but this is how it would exist if it exists. And this is how it would grow if it exists. And you see, we got an NPR Friday book club pick. The next big idea book club, Gizmodo, Book Riot, Wired, Spring Read. Got some really good review attention. Kirkus gave it a nice review. So it's been all over the place, getting some really strong attention here and across the pond. So I'm excited about this book. It's a really fun what if or what about.
Are there illustrations in it, or is it just strictly
It's it's text.
text? Okay.
There might be some, there's some stuff she'll talk about the Drake equation. I would explain it to you, but it's complicated. I don't have a whiteboard. And the
Dave, would you really explain it to me?
You want to go to sleep?
I can turn the whiteboard, and there's a whiteboard function on Zoom,
All right. You gotta, so yeah, the Kardashev scale and the Drake equation. I'll just toss those out for you. Google them.
Okay, I need to. But I love the idea of this book, and I think it sounds really fascinating. But I just saw again that telescope that's like going into a bunch of different
The Webb,
galaxies.
yeah.
They did another, what's it called again? Webb?
The Webb.
Yeah. My brain just can't go there. I can't. It's just like those brains that can go there. I don't.
I get confused by daylight savings time, man. So I'm not gonna be even talk about
I know.
black holes and what's on the other side.
Yeah, and how many billions of years ago it was all like that we're just seeing
You're
stuff
seeing
now.
it
And
now,
what
yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, crazy stuff. Anyways, that one sounds really good. All right, Andrea, you can go now.
Wow.
I know she's get the hook out.
That book sounds really amazing. And I think that it is going to sell for a long time because it's a perennial subject of interest.
Mm-hmm.
I got an email from Amanda earlier, asking about nature titles. And then there's some specific questions about penguins and whales. I have to think about penguins and whales, but I did want to talk about one nature book that's a new release, and that would be Spring Rain: A Life Lived in Gardens by Mark Hamer, who is a critically acclaimed nature writer who's written 2 other books that have done well in the indies, and specifically Warwick's, but other indie booksellers have done well. And that is How to Kill a Mole. No, sorry, How to Catch a Mole. Wow. That sounds like a crime novel.
Exactly.
Publisher.
Don Winslow's gonna write that one.
Yeah. And Seed to Dust. This one is really great. Hamer, and we actually think that this is the kind of book that one should read, that's best read in one sitting, like under a tree or sitting out in a garden or a park somewhere. And it's just interchangeable chapters between a little boy, him as a little boy, struggling to find his place in the world. He had a bit of a rough childhood. And then so interspersed chapters between the little boy and Mark as a 65-year-old professional gardener. And it works, it's whimsical. And in these interspersed chapters, they come together to build a new garden from a neglected plot behind the house on the edge of town. And it's just so delightful, I have to say. Let's see. And then you see that it's like interspersed with these cute little line drawings, basically. And here he is here. He's just such a nice man. And he's got a really beautiful style. He's always up for nature awards every book. He's shortlisted or longlisted. So we think that this is a great little Mother's Day.
I was just gonna say Mother's Day.
Yep, great little Mother's Day and or Father's Day gift as the season progresses. And it's $27.95. And it's a hardcover, out now, came out at the beginning of this month, and it's from Greystone Books, one of our great publishers that do a lot of nature titles. So
Yeah, I love Greystone. That looks really cute. It looks like it's perfect for Mother's Day.
yeah, it's very gifty, and I think it's going to continue selling well into the holiday season when people start thinking about planning their gardens for the next year.
Yep, love it. All right, Tom.
All right, so Jay Ryan will be at the Festival of Books this weekend, and so will Ramona Ossobel, the author of The Last Animal. So this is Ramona's 3rd novel, and I've loved all of her books. And this I hope will be a sleeper, because I don't think a lot of people know her name, but hopefully with this book they will, because it's a total delight. It's her warmest, most accessible book for sure. And is it possible it's a hopeful novel about climate change? That's kind of how I felt about it. I mean, in terms of people, not the larger climate change, but how we think about it and deal with it. So the setup is wacky. Jane and her 2 teenage daughters, Eve and Vera. So she's lost her husband. They've lost their father about a year ago. He was a scientist. So they go to Siberia on a scientific mission to follow up on his work with the other male scientists. And the 2 teenage girls discover a 4,000-year-old woolly mammoth frozen in the ice, which they bring back with them to California. What happens next is when Jane goes rogue with the woolly mammoth, away from the male scientists who really don't respect her, and then they breed a woolly mammoth named Pearl. There she is. There's Pearl. So it's all that, but it's really about a family dealing with grief. It's about, and these characters, I mean, it's hard to get teenage dialogue right.
Mm.
And then and she gets it exactly right. I mean, they're hilarious, they're smart, but not too smart. And even though they're on these crazy adventures, what they really want is something really normal and, regular, but they're not going to get that, not with a mother like this. And there's filled with fantastic lines. This may be my favorite. It's like they always say, you look down for 1 week to breed a woolly mammoth, and when you look up again, your little girls have turned into women. So it's hilarious, it's sweet, it's funny, it's great, it's just great. Really already getting incredible reviews. I love this. Ron Charles in the Washington Post starts off with his review saying, if you could cross Ann Tyler's novels with strands of DNA from Michael Crichton's thrillers, you might produce this new book by Ramona Ausubel. And that kind of gets at it, because there is an Ann Tyler, way about it, because it's just in the characters and the dialogue and the sensibility, but it's surrounded by this crazy, but actually not so crazy. I mean, scientists are trying to do stuff like this right now. I mean, she doesn't get bogged down in the science, thank God, or she would have lost me.
Yeah.
But it's really sweet. People Magazine's Book of the Week, where they say, they call it charming, wry, and original, and that's what it really is. So another great summer read, The Last Animal by Ramona Ausubel.
I love it. It sounds really good. What time period is it taking place? Is it current?
It's right now, yeah.
Right now? Okay.
Yeah, very much right now.
Very current. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
and so it also really, she digs into like two teenage girls who are, daughters of scientists who know about climate change, and it's about how they're thinking about it, how they're dealing with it. It's there in the background, but it's still it gives you a sense of hope, because all we have is each other. So
yeah. I love it. Sounds really good. I hope it is one of the sleepers that blows up for her.
yeah, me too.
Yep. Okay, Shannon, lightning round.
Okay, I'll be quick. It's not coming for a while, but I feel like I cannot not talk about it, because it's all I want to talk about with Julie.
I know, right?
I know.
We need to have maybe we need to have a separate book club about this.
I know. It's so good. It's Rouge, it's Mona Awad, who's one of Julie's favorites and mine. She's just brilliant. I mean, Margaret Atwood called her stone cold genius. And I mean, I would just be done with everything in life after that happened to me. What are you going to say, Julie?
No, well, I was just saying about Margaret Atwood. She's like, Margaret Atwood has designated her as her I don't know what the term is.
Like heir apparent?
Yes.
I know. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
She's just so good. But Friends, it's set in La Jolla. It's magic. I was mesmerized from page one. It is about beauty and mothers and daughters and grief and so many things. And we'll just talk about it more later.
We'll keep
this is
talking
my
about
teaser to pre-order Rouge now. And look at that cover. Oh my God. I'm obsessed.
It's so good. And okay, so the cover is actually, we got to
We'll have another sesh.
We'll have another sesh.
And then I don't want to.
Gabe's cutting us off. Gabe.
Don't cut
sorry, I
us
didn't
off,
mean to-
because I had a
do
request,
that.
and I'm going to quickly talk about the last cold place. Oh, I just saw it flash up. Oh, from that
There you
angle.
go.
Penguins, look how cute they are. Somebody asked about this book. It came out a couple weeks ago. It is a memoir by Nera DeGracia. And so it is the season that she spent in Antarctica studying chinstrap penguins. But it's I would say nature and science memoir. It's getting lovely quotes. Someone called her the Jane Goodall of penguins. So I feel like for anybody, Lab Girls meets Why Fish Don't Exist. But if you're looking for a beautiful piece of nature and science / memoir writing, there it is.
What was the title again?
It's called The Last Cold Place, a field season studying penguins in Antarctica.
Okay. Yeah, because somebody did ask about books about penguins, and I think they're going whale watching and stuff. So we're getting some requests on content, which I love. So, okay, Gabe, you can cut us off now.
All right, yeah, go, take
So
it away,
sorry, I
Gabe.
wanted to make sure.
That's okay. We'll let Mona know,
Wait, is it my turn? Maybe
Yeah.
I should go.
Always stepping on my stuff. And I have item because I'm when I got it.
Okay, is Gabe frozen or are we all frozen?
Gabe cut us off and now he's frozen.
Okay,
I
he's the
know, I
frozen
thought it
one. I
was my
wasn't sure.
internet,
I
but-
thought I wasn't sure if it was me or not. And let's see if I can, okay.
I
here-
blame myself.
Are you back again, Gabe?
Am I back?
You're back now.
All right, let's see. It said my internet.
And you're
Yeah.
still a little unstable. But he's going to talk about 7 steeples. That's what he's going to talk about. One of Wall Street Journal's 10 best books of 2022. I can read the screen.
And Gabe is very stable, so it's surprising that he's been called
I
unstable.
know. I know. This
the
is
internet.
unusual. Okay, Gabe, I think I'm cutting you off. I think I'm taking your I think I'm pulling you. Yeah, I gotta pull Gabe. Oh, wait, is he back?
Am I?
No. We'll let you come back. Okay, now you're back. I think. No. We're gonna go to Andrea and then we'll come back to you, Gabe. We talked to him in the chat. Oh, no, wait a second. Is this you, Andrea? Okay, Andrea's going. Okay. You going, Andrea? You're on mute. Andrea's on mute.
Okay, sorry. Wow.
We're having some serious
Tea
technical.
time.
We're new at this. We haven't been doing this for a while.
Well, I think there is some sort of weird cosmic issues right now, like in the Mercury in retrograde or something, and it
Yeah.
affects communication, and it's clearly taking hold right now. I want to talk about this fantastic novel, The Lioness of Boston, about the inimitable, eccentric, and proto-feminist Isabella Stewart Gardner, who, of course, founded a museum in Boston. She had an industrialist husband who had lots of cash and supported her love of travel and art, and brought a lot of art back to Boston. She decorated their mansion with, basically, and then they decided to actually turn the mansion into a gorgeous museum. And if you haven't been there, the next time you're in Boston, make it your first date out on the town. It's an amazing place. So this is a fictional portrait of Isabella Stewart Gardner. And her dates are like in 1840s to the mid 20s. So that's a great time in American history. So it's like, it like basically Boston and America of that period is also like almost a character, right? And she's just amazing. And so we learn a little bit more about her through this author, Emily Franklin, who has studied her. And I think it's amazing. What is Carolyn Levitt in the New York Times? No, Carolyn Levitt just gave a blurb. She didn't review it yet, but she said, Franklin's gorgeous, extraordinarily intimate and timely novel about Isabella Stewart Gardner showcases the life of a daring, brilliant woman who refused to be confined to the mores of her day, even as she searched for her truest self. So richly alive, I was running to Google to reacquaint myself with every mentioned painting. So moving, I wept over the tragedies and delighted in her bold success. How could any reader not be inspired by the cast of creatives, including Oscar Wilde, Henry James, John Singer Sargent, and more? This book is just shatteringly good, and the writing so artful. Isabella herself would surely approve. Now, that's a really nice little blurb for this book. I think that this has Warwick's written all over it.
Yes,
Okay,
it does.
I think there's a very large audience for this book. at Warwick's, and there's a stack of it at Warwick's, and I just think this is going to sell for a long time there. And go and check that out. It's a great novel. It's David R. Godine. They have a great editorial.
Oh, it's a Godine book?
It is. It's a David R. Godine book.
David didn't send that to me. David's my buddy.
I think I might have a copy of this. I was looking at a huge stack of things and moving things around. That's what happens when you're a book rep. Okay. Piles of galleys of books sprout up. You add water and it pops up overnight, basically, and it overtakes your house, much to your spouse's chagrin.
Right.
But I think I have one, and I'll send it.
David, because David, he was Beneficence, which I loved, which was one of my favorite books, and he also was Life Sentences, the Billy O'Callahan. So,
oh, great!
I know I'm gonna love that book. I love his editorial. He's
So
good.
Simon Van Boy now.
He's good.
Yeah,
Who-
yeah, we do. It's just such a great literary list.
Yeah.
And then they're also publishing, Black Sparrow for like the edgy, poetry and short story stuff. So that's cool too.
What? All right, Tom. Gabe, we'll get you at the very end. Okay.
So when Andrea said that about the piles of books everywhere, part of me was like, I'll just go into the other room and I'll show you all the piles of books. But it also reminded me, did anybody see 60 Minutes last night?
No,
David,
I missed it.
Oh, Dave, you should, David, they did a really great piece on David Grand, the nonfiction, narrative
yeah.
nonfiction writer,
love
who has a
him.
new book
Yeah.
out tomorrow, must be out tomorrow, which
I think so.
is about a shipwreck and forget what it's called, but it sounds amazing.
Got a weird
But
name.
they showed his office, and it you've never seen anything like it, is all I'll say. Books and files everywhere.
Yeah.
I love David Grant. He's so good.
I know, I have to get this new one for sure.
Amanda just put him on the put the link to the 60 Minutes thing in the chat.
Oh yeah, it's a great piece.
Yeah.
But the book I want to talk about is Only the Beautiful by Susan Meisner. So this doesn't really do justice to the cover. I wish I had the real book. I'm sure it's gonna be this is just a print out of it. But this seems like what Meisner does best. It's a bit of California history here, but she's so it's historical, set in the 1930s and mostly 1930s and 1940s, and it'll be great for book groups because the big idea she's talking about dealing with is eugenics, the eugenics movement, and what happens both here in California to a character, and then a woman in Austria during Hitler's time, and they took eugenics to a whole new level. But she draws parallels between what was happening here and what was happening there, and like a lot of things we never learned, eugenics was a big movement here, and we sterilized a lot of women, and that's a lot of what the book is about. So it'll be a great discussion starter conversation. People will be talking about this book. So the book is Only the Beautiful by Susan Meisner, and she's just a great, really good historical novelist. You
So
like Lisa
good.
Wingate.
She always taps into like the Germans that were put into concentration camps in World War II here in the United States. She always seems to find these little things that we in the United States don't really want to talk about so much.
Right, things that you think, oh well, I can feel that about. I can look down on what they did.
Right.
Obviously, what they did was,
Right.
But we want to forget. We want to sweep under the rug what we did here.
What we were doing
You're
here.
right. That's a big part of what this book is.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we had Glendale was not really in our neighborhood, but it was an area that you visited. And there was always this, you don't want to be of color and in Glendale. You definitely don't want to be black and in Glendale.
Wow.
And then just like 5-6 years ago, I read about that. Glendale was a big Nazi loving area. They had like a whole park over there.
Oh wow, I
They
didn't know
actually
that.
like renamed it a couple 3 years ago. They kind of brought it back to life with like the original name that got protested, and that they
Oh
had
my
like
God.
Klan rallies, Nazi rallies.
Yeah.
Got some. So that stuff sticks, man.
Yeah.
It does.
We
Well,
thought we
I
were just
mean,
like,
it's really true, Gabe. I mean, people don't know that the Nazis actually used the methods and techniques and ideas from America when they
Right.
were,
Yeah.
like starting their whole
Mhm.
scene.
Jim
Yeah, they
Crow.
didn't come up a lot of this stuff on their own.
Mhm.
Right, and eugenics was spread by respectable people.
Right.
Like, we're
Well,
gonna
Susan, the other
perfect.
thing too, if you're here in San Diego, Susan's going to be at the store. We got a great lineup. You guys are talking about great books. We got
Ooh.
Don Winslow tomorrow. We got Susan on Thursday.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so she'll be at the store on Thursday. And the David Graham book it's The Wager. Amanda
Yes,
put that in
Wager.
the Wager.
What a weird name for that book. I got the galley
know.
downstairs. I can't wait.
Yeah, because it's got like the ship on the front. Anyways. Okay, Gabe, we're gonna close this out.
Thank you for bearing with me today, man. It's like
Yes.
dripping all over myself today.
I love
Usually
it.
a big pro. Hey, so we wanted to talk about this novel for a long time. It was out in hardback, published by Houghton Mifflin. Harcourt, we a year ago started selling. We bought Harcourt HMH and brought them over. And this was a book that we're just now publishing in paperback that they published right before things switched over. And it's an Irish novel by an Irish novelist. And I just saw the David Van quote, who I really love. He's a really interesting writer. So Seven Steeples is a couple, Isabel, who we call Belle, and Simon, who we call Cy, S-I-G-H, marry, and they move away to a coastal area that is surrounded by mountains and the Atlantic. And they are where they set up home in a very ramshackle place, a house. They are told that if you climb the top of this mountain, you can see 7 peaks of the surrounding mountain thing. So that's sort of the thing that keeps you going, right? So the book covers 7 years, and in those 7 years, they never climb the mountain. In those 7 years, they don't do much of anything. So where Tom was saying his book is for everybody, this book might not be for everybody, but it's a beautiful book. The writing is just, it's poetic, it's beautiful, it's stark. It's a sad book ultimately, but I just loved it. So I got to talk about it. It's out in paperback tomorrow. The characters really don't evolve. We don't hear much from the characters, but and there are kind of like 5 POVs, the couple, the 2 dogs that they take with them, and then the mountain or nature is evoked in this book. And what she does, I thought, was just brilliant, bringing nature to life. That's why I thought when somebody asked about nature, I think this book, the nature writing is just beautiful and unbelievable. The prose is amazing. And yeah, nothing happens. These people don't evolve. These people don't have conversations. Things happen and there's a narrative, but not much happens. They exist for 7 years. We don't see them grow. We don't see them physically touch. They actually avoid touching. It's a real interesting what she does. And it just has kept me thinking is it just a completely external book with no internalness, or what was she trying to do? Anyways, beautiful read. It will definitely get you thinking. I think if you're a good reader, I think there's a reader who will read this and be like, I don't get it. Or there's a reader who is like, oh, that was a bummer. But I just thought this book was beautiful, amazing. Yeah, there's not like a plot per se necessarily. Nothing really moves forward.
I love it though, but it sounds, I'm going to take it off screen share for a
It's
second.
like you're in the moment, it's always of the
Right.
moment, and they become these rustics and things wear down around them.
But
you
it
know.
sounds not, and I'm going to only compare this because it's not anything about the topic as far as nature writing or anything, but do you remember the book Stoner? That it sounds like that, where it's just nothing much happens, but it's just one of those books that just gets under your skin.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
gets under your skin. And that's what this one sounds like. It sounds
And
really
yeah,
good.
done right, movies and books where nothing happens can be some of the very best. But done wrong,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm out. But
Yeah, it was nominated for a number of prizes in Ireland. It was an Irish Times bestseller. And the Irish stuff is hot right now.
I love I did a book talk. for UCSD or USD, excuse me. And I think the majority of my books are Irish writers. So I was realizing that it's like, I know this is really depressing, but it's so good. I know you're going to be depressed, but it's really good. I mean,
The
I kept
Irish
saying
life.
that. What was Trespasses? I did Trespasses.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I did Life Sentences. I did, I did a number of them. And I realized that it's like, I love my depressing Irish books. They're the best. I know, wasn't Trespasses good, Shannon? So good.
So
So-
good.
All right, everybody. We kind of took you to the hour. We had some technical difficulties today.
We made it through.
But we
We
made
did.
it through. Like I said, if you're in San Diego, we've got I talked about the Don Winslow and the Susan Meisner event. We have Laura McCowan coming on Wednesday with Push Off From Here. We have Admiral McRaven coming on Friday at USD with the Wisdom of the Bullfrog. And we have Katie Porter, Representative Katie Porter will be at the store I'm going to go get a whiteboard. I want her to write on a whiteboard.
Yeah,
for
you
me.
have to. It's a must.
So Katie Porter will be at the store on Saturday. So happy reading, everybody. Lots of great books this week, and appreciate you tuning in. And we'll see y'all next week.
Next week.
Bye.